What's up? My name's Megiddo, and I am so excited about this week. Pioneer has done it. They have come out with Rekordbox 5, and this is probably one of the biggest updates to Rekordbox. There is one feature within this update that is just absolutely unreal, amazing. Let me just brief you on kind of like the main updates that they've given with this new update for Rekordbox 5. They said that they've come out with something called the Core Tech. So I guess they redesigned their engine of how everything flows and operates. Oh my goodness, it is so much faster, more efficient. The GUI on the Rekordbox DJ looks flat, smooth, clean. So number one, it's an improved engine, faster upload, faster analysis of tracks. I guess when you plug in a USB and maybe some of your tracks aren't uploaded or analyzed yet while you're playing, it'll upload quickly. I've tested that out, and that is true. It is very fast. It is very efficient. So I'm really excited about this new engine and the new, I guess, design in the nitty-gritty of the program. Everything is just moving a lot faster. Whatever they've done, they did it right. I'm so excited. Number two, advanced and accurate track analysis. So Pioneer is boasting that their new algorithm can analyze things faster and more accurately. I haven't really gone into great detail on this. I haven't analyzed a bunch of different tracks, but I'm excited to see the performance of that. I'm sure that is the case, but you know, only time will tell. But I'm excited about what's to come. Okay, number three, and this is the biggest update. I can take my entire library, I can export it from Rekordbox onto a USB, and let's say you're playing the Pioneer Ddj RZ, and you've got your computer all set up at a gig, and I show up with just this flash drive. I can plug in my flash drive into your computer, and it's going to show up on your computer, and I can play all my tracks, all my cue points from your computer. What? I can't tell you how incredible that is. Let's say you've got a person that likes to play on CDJs. So you're setting up a show with multiple DJs. You've got CDJs, and maybe somebody wants to set up a controller like the Pioneer Ddj RZ or RX or RR, and maybe you have both of those set up. So somebody can walk in using Pioneer DJ or Pioneer software, put all their playlists and cue points on this. They can plug this into your laptop and play all of their cue points, all of their tracks right from the USB. That is insane. So I'm going to do it for you right now. But I also want to tell you about the fourth thing that they said they've updated, which is the GUI, which is the way everything looks. And it looks great. I'm going to show it to you in just 1 second. Everything is so flat and nice and black and clean. I'm so excited about it. So without further ado, let's move over to Rekordbox. I'm going to come over here, and I'm going to take my USB. This is my production laptop, so I have pretty much no tracks on this production laptop. All of my music is on my DJ laptop, which is over there. That's where I analyze all my tracks. That's where I analyze my entire library. I keep my entire library. I have exported everything down to this USB stick, and I'm going to put it into my computer, and we are going to play my cue points and tracks from this USB stick on this laptop. So let's check it out. So I'm just going to go back here in real time, plug it in, and then over here, bam, check this out. Over here in devices, it shows you all the devices connected to that laptop. So this is Megiddo USB 2, and this shows me a bunch of different information that I can see about my settings, the way I like things set. Now, I'm not exactly sure. One thing I did note is that when I like to gate my hot cues, meaning like when I press my hot cue, it doesn't start the track, it just moves it to the cue point to where it needs to be, and then I hit play button when I want the track to begin. I did notice that like I had the auto hot cue set up on this computer, and so when I hit my hot cue, it automatically started playing. So you may need to go into the software and change that before you start your set. If the other DJ has it set to auto hot cue, meaning that it's going to automatically play as soon as you touch the button. But that's only one thing that I noticed. So anyways, that's just a short aside. So check this out. So if you click on this down arrow, you can see playlist, you can see all tracks, and then wow, right there is my entire library of tracks. And then we can go over here to playlist, and bam, here are my shows. I just played in the Netherlands this past weekend. Thank you so much for having me. I'm going to, let's see, you can't, and this is real time right now, you can't put, you know, sometimes you can have your favorite playlist set up right up here. It doesn't look like you can drag that playlist. So I'm just going to right now, I'm going to pull a track over here. So I'm just going to pull two of my tracks over here, and then as you can see, this is all from my USB stick. So I'm going to hit the cue point.
I came to search out your heart. I tried, I traveled above all these stars just to find you on the ground. You pulled me down. You pulled me down.
So check this out. As you can see, it is playing all of my cue points on a computer that has none of my analyzed files from a USB. This is such an incredible update for DJs. I don't know if you know this, but this is absolutely incredible. Because the big thing is, like, if you've ever been to a show, if you've ever been to a gig with multiple DJs, everybody's got their own controller for the most part, unless everybody's playing on CDJs. But you're going to have a mix. You're going to have people that want to play on the controller because that's what they've practiced on. You're going to have people who are like, oh no, the only way to play music is on a CDJ with the DJ M900 Nexus 2. And if you don't, then you're not a true DJ. You're not a musician. But I mean, that's just BS. I mean, really, you can play anything. You're an artist. DJs are an artist. If you want to DJ with a controller and use effects and things like that, or just traditional DJ with a controller, you can do that. If you want to do it on the CDJs, the club standard all across the world, you can do that. But what's great about this is one USB stick could go into the CDJ and play the same tracks, analyzed tracks, as on a controller, or whether it's the RR, the RZ, the RX, the new RX2 with a touch screen that just came out today. That's insane. I'm going to do another video on that, so look forward to that. Basically, this is just absolutely incredible. This is what we needed as DJs. Thank you so much, Pioneer, for understanding what we needed as DJs in terms of what would make a set look the best. Because, to be honest, it's all about, you know, the transition between DJs. It's really distracting from the performance of other DJs when you have to set up gear, take gear down, move gear this way, that way, this way, this way. If you've ever been to a show, if you've ever played a gig with multiple DJs, you know exactly what I'm talking about. If you are a promoter and you are like, how do I get all these DJs to play and make it look nice and everybody's not moving their stuff around and everything's connected correctly, then you are absolutely going to love this update, because basically you can have two setups or one setup, and then everybody can just come in and stick their USB stick, let the DJs know, please be aware that you need to have your tracks analyzed in Rekordbox, and show up with a USB, and you can play on anybody's laptop, and this, or blah, 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 blah. Anyways, this Cortec engine is just phenomenal. Thank you so much, Pioneer. This is incredible. With that, so let's take a look right now. Check this out. So if you've seen Rekordbox before, this looks a lot flatter, a lot cleaner. The colors really kind of stand out. One other feature that I know that has come out is that not only can you have 8 hot cues, but now there is a second bank that goes even deeper that adds an additional 8 hot cues for a total of 16 hot cues, because there is also a new piece of hardware that has just come out that can play all 16 pads. The Ddj Xp1 has just come out. So check this out. I'm going to pull this up right now. So basically, you can play hot cues, pad effects, beat jump sampler, everything that's basically on the RZ, the DDJ RZ and the DDJ RX, and the RR and the SR, I believe, where you can have pad effects 2 hot cues. Now you can play 16 pad effects or 16 hot cues, and then all these pad effects. Really cool functions. Super excited about that. So anyways, that has been added, so that's an additional feature that's really cool. Another big feature I will say about the hot cue, I have emailed Pioneer already about 2 things that I've noticed, and these are the only really 2 negative things that I've seen. Of course, they are constantly updating this. It was just beta like last week, and now they've just released it, but I've already emailed them. If you go into the export system, there are 2 things that have kind of been messed up, or maybe I just can't find them. I think the first thing that's messed up is we've got the metronome. When you turn the metronome on, typically I like to have the metronome on when I'm analyzing my tracks, even when I'm setting hot cues throughout the track so I can make sure everything's synced up correctly. If you press the metronome and press play, you hear the metronome. But as soon as you click off grid to start making your loops, or excuse me, to start making your hot cues, watch what happens. It stops. Now I think that this is a simple mess up. I think that was an accident. The metronome should continue to play. So now when I play it and I go back into the grid mode, I have to then hit it on.
Falling far, feels like I'm losing.
For it to play again. So I think that's a pretty big deal. Right here, you can see that there's a little arrow that will make the resolution larger or smaller in terms of how the waveform is. The other thing that I couldn't find is, so now you can have 16 hot cues. Well, when you go into export mode, I can only see 8, or I can't figure out how to see the next bank of 16 hot cues, or the next bank of 8 hot cues. So I can see it on here. I can't scroll up or down to see additional hot cues, and then I can't scroll up or down. So I've also emailed them about that. Where can I set in export mode the additional 8 hot cues? Also to note, it took me a while to figure out where everything is, because everything's kind of moved around a little bit. The Quantize button is important to have the Quantize button on once you set your Beatgrid, because then when you hit the hot cues will be locked into the Beatgrid. So it's important to, when you're analyzing your tracks, to always make sure that the Quantize button is on after you have set your tempo, knowing that the tempo is synced to the metronome. So, and that is right there. There are other things that kind of show up right here. You can change the waveform right here with this little 3-line thing. You just click on that, and then you've just got some other functions like there. You kind of just have to kind of click around, but the big things for the analyzing the tracks are the grid, and set your grid right here, and then you've got your information up here. You can actually change it from 1 player to now you can have 2 players. Let's see. It has info on the sides. Beat sync master. Let's go back to just one player. I typically like one player when I'm looking at everything.
Closer, closer.
This is one of the tracks off of my new album. Let's see. What else? I guess you can record from the export mode, which is interesting. That didn't do anything. You've got that there. That's just kind of scrubbing through the track, and then up here you can kind of scrub through the track easy like that. But look how clean everything looks. Look how it looks so much nicer flat than what they had before. I really like it. Okay, so let's go into the performance mode. So like I said, the big thing is the fact that you can play a USB stick from a computer that does not have any of those tracks on there. And that's just absolutely incredible. So I'm trying to go through. So usually I am so as you can see right here, here's where you would find the quantize, the slip function. This is where you can make sure that the whether or not when you change the tempo, the pitch won't move. So usually I believe MT, master tempo, when that is selected, when you change the tempo, it's not going to change the key or make the voice sound like this or sound like this. It'll basically sound like the track, but at a higher tempo or a lower tempo. So I typically always like to keep that on. Some DJs like to match in key, which is great, and that's a great function of how you would be able to do that. Let's see right here. Then you've got some different settings that can be populated right here. I like the fact that now you can kind of see within the jog wheel, you've got plus or minus, and you can click on it to adjust it once again, but I believe it's shift tempo on any of the controllers, or shift master tempo to change plus or minus with the tempo, with the pitch faders. Let's see what else. The colors really stand out. They're really bright. I'm just kind of giving you my first impressions. Up here you have the record button so that you can record, and then the master out. That's kind of, you know, if you have samplers, if you like to play samples when you're DJing, that's where you would find that. Then you've got the effects and then the color effects beneath that, which is standard of what it was before. And then also right here, now you can go in here and see the beat grid. Let's see if we hit the beat, if we hit the metronome on.
Will you not save again? More love means less space.
So I believe that this information, like if you turned on the metronome, would only come through the Q mix. So because I'm playing through master speakers right now, there's no Q mix, so you're not going to hear the metronome playing. But that's interesting. And then right here, then instead of having like the AABs or, you know, the hot Q, you know, pad effects, slicer, beat jump, they're drop down boxes now. And I believe you can go in and click on that slip function. If you hit this little edit mode, now I think you can even actually, where before you had to have all three as the slip function, slip mode, I believe now, look, you can even change that. It gives you way more functionality to be able to just, if you just wanted like maybe like an eighth note beat repeat and then maybe some reverb right there. Sometimes I like to do the beat repeat and a filter, so that would be great if you wanted to, you know, that's what I love about the RZX is the fact, or the DDJ RZ is the fact that you can use the pad effects at the same time as using the filter knob and everything like that, or the color effects knob. I love the first, and this has just added so much versatility to what we can do as DJs in terms of adding pad effects and things like that. That is really cool. I'm really liking that. Very nice. Thank you so much, Pioneer. Okay, so let's go on. I believe spacebar allows you to see all the tracks and everything like that. Then to edit the color effects right here, you can just see the drop down box. So that's great. I think the one thing that would I wish you could do is drag your playlist up to these playlist banks, even though it's not a part of that person's collection. That would be cool, because sometimes I would like to scroll, kind of quick access between different playlists. I mean, you still have it right here. I can go in between these playlists. Like maybe one track worked at one session and then the next track worked. I played 4 times in the Netherlands. I was the house DJ for this music festival, along with being one of the artists for the main closing act. So I had multiple sets throughout the day. And we ran into that in the Netherlands. We had a DJ that was, this was before the Rekordbox 5 came out. He showed up with his USB stick, and the guy had like the CDJs that only could use CDs. They didn't have USBs. I think CDJ 1000s, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. But he showed up and he had to play off my laptop, and basically he had to import all of his tracks into a specific playlist, and then go. But none of his cue points were able to be transferred. So this solution would have worked this past weekend. So I'm just so pumped about that. Just one more time, I'd like to remind you that if you have different settings, you just click the setting button. And before you start playing, just make sure that your settings are set correctly. So typically under the controller. For me, this is a big one. The hot cue, I like my hot cues to be gated and not automatically play. I know some people like them to automatically play when you hit the button. I like to gate mine, put it in correct position, and then use the play button to start playback. So that's one thing I would check, and that would be under the deck setting of the controller. Right there, I would always check that. And then there's other things like, make sure that you can't load a deck. That's a big thing for me. If a deck is playing, you can't load anything. Make sure that setting is set correctly. But yeah, I really like this. And to export, to sync your tracks to a USB, you basically need to go back into the export function of Rekordbox. And then you're going to click the sync manager. And I'm not going to do it right here because this device is synchronized with another computer. I'm going to click no because then it would automatically try to delete everything. But this is where you would go to synchronize everything, and you would just select your playlist from the sides, and then you would click that button and it would synchronize. And it'll show up right down here that it's loading, I think 1 to 100%. And that way you know if you're if everything's uploaded. Then it should close out. Then you just hit close. Another thing is you also can back up your entire library off of a USB. So let's say your computer gets stolen, your computer breaks down. You can back up your entire library on a USB, plug your USB to your new computer, and then restore library, which saves all of the hours that you spent analyzing your tracks, which is incredible. That is awesome. Thank you, Pioneer. Thank you so much for tuning in for the first look at Pioneer DJ Rekordbox 5 update. My name's Megiddo. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Peace.